Hey everybody, Tim and Jordan here. I can't believe it. 4 episodes, like 4 episodes, a whole month of Star Trek. I can't believe it. Star Trek Lower Decks, Season 1, Episode 4, Moist Vessel.
I feel like you were just waiting to say that title.
Moist. So what'd you think?
Overall, I thought this episode was pretty good.
Did you think it was moist?
Yes.
I was actually a little disappointed. There was nothing really moist. There was no moisture.
Just, the main plot of, like, this...
The ooze.
Yes, the ooze. I would say it's pretty moist.
Yeah. So, as always, Jordan, who doesn't watch Star Trek, doesn't know anything about Star Trek, if you guys watch this, like, Jordan is literally the opening mariner when it comes to Star Trek, like, just yawning. Like, it'll be the Wrath of Khan, it'll be like, Khan! And Jordan's like, yawn. Yep, I meant to do that. The joke was intentional. So lots of shout outs for this one. Like I said, the whole opening is the Marset, which I was a little bit disappointed in, only because it's the exact same ship as the Cerritos. Like, they didn't change it at all. They could have, like, literally flipped it upside down, and I would have been totally fine. The captain is a Tellarite, who is one of the founding members of the Federation, so that was kind of cool. But, so, as you had brought up, like, the entire plot is this generational ship with an ooze that makes inorganic matter organic, so they're assuming it was to terraform a planet of some sort. Like, so that was actually pretty sci-fi for this show. I mean, so far every episode's just been like how do we not fuck up?
Yeah, I would say it's just like a day in the life on a Starfleet ship. But yeah, this one I would definitely say, like, it's a whole ship full of mummies, and they have this organic life material, and they think that they're looking for a planet that they can crash on and basically make it their own.
I thought you said it was a shit full of mummies. I was like, what? What episode were you watching?
I'm surprised.
Yeah. Okay. So did the more, like, sci-fi story, like, did it put you off? Was it still, like, comedy jokey enough that it kept you in it?
I think because the sci-fi about the mummies being on their ship and everything, I would say it was very basic. It was like, hey, this is what's happening. This is why we're being sent over there to get this ooze. Mm-hmm. And then after that, it's just like they kind of drop it. Like, you know why they're going there, and you know what they're getting, and that's that. So, I feel like if they would have played into it a little bit more, then maybe I probably wouldn't have been that interested, but...
Which I love, because that's literally any Star Trek ever. Is like, here's something sci-fi that doesn't really make sense, but really we want this story about family and coming together. But you always just, oh god, it's an alien, I'm done, I'm bored. So, it's
not that bad.
It's fine, because I love how, like, because it's, like, animated, and, like, especially you and Mariner seem to have, like, this connection.
Yes.
So, I loved the whole scene of, like, giving Mariner the bad jobs, like, cleaning out the holodeck.
Yeah.
And she's
the holodeck is really used for that?
Oh, that's all it's used for. The holodeck is
she can have fun cleaning that.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is that's why Mariner and I get along. Like, we know these games, and so it's like, fine, I'll win you up, and you know what? I'm going to make the best of it.
Which, as somebody who, we've both done retail for a long time, and, like, that scene where she's like, oh, you have to scrape carbon off of slightly denser carbon, and she still makes it into a game.
Yeah.
Like, we've had days, like, where there were days where all we did was zone for 8 hours. Like, how do you turn zoning into fun? This fool will find a way. So, that worked for me. The subplot, because there's always an A plot and a B plot.
Right.
The B plot was kind of mediocre. It was all about the guy trying to ascend.
Oh, yeah, he was weird. He was a dick.
The best part about that whole thing for me was the references where Rutherford, whatever, is like, oh, he's gonna be non-corporeal or whatever, like, however he says it. The Ascension, you mean like Q or the Traveler? Which, you know who Q is, because we've met John Delancey.
Oh, right.
The Traveler is kind of a similar Q type person, but he was only in like 2 or 3 episodes. But still, the fact that they threw out Q. Anytime I get Q makes a reference, I always love Q. As he knows, Q's my favorite character. So I don't know. How do you feel about the twist that, okay, if we can't get Mariner to quit by giving her the shit jobs, we'll promote her.
That's one of those, like, because I feel like, oh shit.
Psychic connection. I think I know what he's about to say.
Because, like, I feel like, I don't know, because, like, she does everything wrong, and so they promote her, and then I feel like Boimer at that point, because he's like, I do everything, I go above and beyond, and they promoted you? So,
that's almost like you and I.
Yeah, that's kind
like,
of...
We worked the same job, and I literally, like, would try to get fired. And, like, my boss would be like, will you do this? I'd be like, will you go fuck yourself? Somehow I made salary management, and he was brought down to janitorial and then fired to, like, we'll sugarcoat everything. But I was like, yeah, so.
Yeah, exactly. So, again, I would feel in Boimer's part at that moment, because I'd be like, what the hell? But then Mariner even says at one point in time, she's like, look, Carol, I know what you're doing.
Did you just Carol me?
Yeah.
Which, to me, I guess we failed the psychic connection at that point.
Yep.
It reminded me, like, of Ted. The Mark Wahlberg teddy bear movie. Because, like, when he gets the job as, like, the clerk, and he's like, you've got some mouth on you. Yeah, this mouth was all over your wife's box last night.
Oh.
You say what you're thinking. You're going to be a manager. Fuck. Like, that's literally what it reminded me of. It's just Mariner just keeps moving
Yeah,
up.
exactly.
But again, like me, as I kept moving up the ranks, as much as I hated it, I was kind of like Mariner, where they're like, let's do a staff meeting.
But see, that's the thing.
Conference call? I hate conference calls.
Yeah, and see,
Fuck you and your Zoom.
But yeah, but see, the thing is, I feel like for you, is what I like feel like you're like the best employee ever, but then the worst one too is because you do your job so well that if someone tried to come at you and was like, hey, you're like, bitch, I'm in my right. So they really can't do anything about it.
Kind of like Mariner, where she's like...
Yeah.
Like, what is it, the first episode, where she's like, Sendia Cave, Dick Yeti, 5 planets, I'm right now! Like, I really just want to slack off and do absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, I do have a lot of knowledge.
I feel like management's like, oh, we know Jordan will take care of it.
Yeah, so we'll just keep, like...
demoting him.
Why promote him when he'll do the same job for free?
Exactly.
Yeah, see?
No.
Go Mariner. Maybe Mariner and I... Well, I don't know. You say you are Mariner, so Mariner and I would be friends.
But then here you go. See, Mariner didn't like... Okay, so towards the end of this episode, she gets herself demoted.
Kind of on purpose.
Yeah.
Where she's like, sense ores.
Yeah.
It was very like Super Troopers. Right, meow.
Which is really funny. Is like when they started
meow?
that scene, that was actually the first when he was like sensors. I was like, that's a really weird way to say it.
Are you making fun of me?
Yeah. And then so again, that's why I say Mariner are the same person.
It was great. It worked. Which I kept thinking that the captain was going to start trying not to laugh also.
Yeah.
And then once she started getting mad at Mariner, I was like, oh, she's literally just like kissing the Admiral's ass. So I don't know if I was disappointed or happy, but I was like, because it threw me off. I was totally expecting Mariner and the captain to have like this, like, they're both going to giggle moment.
Right.
And nope, the captain was like, okay, you're demoted, go away. And I was like, oh, it's a twist, but it actually, like, it made me a little bit sad. But the captain and the commander had that Timon and Pumbaa thing earlier in the episode where the commander's like, let's give her the bad jobs and she'll quit. I have an idea. I'm going to give her the bad jobs. Oh, I wish I'd thought of that. This is why you're the captain. I was like, fuck. And that's a lot of store managers, let me tell you. And again, I'm, as Jordan points out, I am that dick where I have been on a tour with an admiral who'd be like a regional director. And the captain's like, the store manager's like, I came up with this idea. No, you didn't. I recommended that. That was my end cap. And this is how much money it's made. I got in trouble. But guess what? They know who I was. So, crushed it.
But I feel like, again, that's just one of my biggest pet peeves. Don't take credit for something I did. So
for sure. Just like I cleaned the house today.
So this will be the last review. Got it. Okay.
It might be. Like, Lower Decks is bombing hard. So supposedly it's getting canceled. I don't know. They've already put in an order for 2 seasons. So to me, if they've already paid for it, if it's already done, do the fucking 20 episodes and then cancel it if you're going to. But because you've already paid for it, why not? Just go for it. What do you got to lose? So basically the plot, like I said, Mariner having to go through all of the shenanigans. I love where they play poker, because that's a reference to the Next Generation.
Right, they always play poker.
They always play poker. A couple more. I liked the I forgot who it was. Oh, it was Boimer, where Boimer's like, I'm going to like start being evil.
Yeah,
and they're like, what? Which is a great thing, because like you never see them like turn off their like communicator whenever they're like, Jordan, get to the bridge. And he's like, on my way. And then they just go. It's not like, why don't you go fuck yourself? I'm sorry, what? I didn't hear that. Nothing. So, where he's like, it's a very quick line, but it's like, where he's like, oh, nothing, holodeck, Moriarty program. It's a reference to the Next Generation. Like, the Next Generation actually got sued by the Conan Arthur Doyle family estate, the people who own the rights to Sherlock. Because they did a whole episode about Sherlock where Data was Sherlock, and the estate were like, no. And they sued them, and it was like 5 years later they were finally able to do another episode. So it was a great reference. How did the being a dick like? Oh, the captain.
Yeah.
Go for it. You probably got it better than I do.
Oh,
like
I'm short-term
like this is what it's like being a captain. No, that's what it's like to be a dick. Again, I'm 90% sure I've said that. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I don't think anyone that knows you would be either.
Because guess what? Being a captain, being a dick, being a store manager and being a dick,
just being a supervisor in general,
are not mutually exclusive.
Honestly, everyone's your friend until you have to be like, okay, hey, you need to do your job.
Agree and disagree. Because a lot of people really liked me. As I've said before, when I was a manager, I was more of the carrot than the stick person. Like, I would rather, like, help somebody or, like, kind of even just bribe them. Because I've had good store managers where, like, oh, are you having a bad day? Let me buy you a rock star.
Right.
Like, I mean, literally, that's bribery. You're like, hey, you're having a bad day. Let me help you out. And I've had other store managers that are like, oh, my God, you just stopped someone stealing $500. I'm going to make you work overtime mandatory. Like,
get extra hours.
Yeah,
keep it up.
Yeah, like can we buy them? Like, and I was there. Can we buy them like a drink or something? Nope, that's not in the budget. Fuck you. I'll do it out of my pocket. That's why people liked me more. So I don't know.
Yeah, but so again, you have to buy people stuff in order for them to like you.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's okay.
But
so
then
got it.
They do come to root for you though, and then when you do, hey, I have a really shitty task. Can you please help me out with it? Yeah, I'll help you.
I was just saying, I'm not doubting, like, by all means, like, if you have those star people, you need to make sure that those star players know who they are.
Know they're appreciated.
Yeah, like I said, they need to know who they are. And, I mean, I feel like I do the same thing at my job. I don't always have the funds, but, you know, I've bought my people coffee. I've bought them food. I mean, I've made sure on hot days when I know there's going to be a store that's hot, I've made sure I've had cases of water. I've made sure when I go to lunches, I have extra food for my people. Like, I do stuff like that.
Maybe I did overplay the buying thing, but, like, at the same time, like, literally, I have told people, hey, you're doing a great job. And I've also had store managers never say that. I've had store managers that didn't even know people's names.
Yeah.
Like, you should know at least who this person is, because they're in your cash office every single day.
Yeah,
nope,
but that's good management. But like I said, like back to the original thing is that like nobody really likes you when you become management, because everyone wants to be your friend, because everyone, honestly, 90% of people like to slack off at work. I mean, let's get real.
Buffer time.
Yeah, buffer time. And so when you actually get into that management role where it's like, okay, well now they expect more of me. I'm supposed to do this. We're supposed to make sure that this. Now I have to be responsible for all these people, and if all this doesn't get done, I'm getting yelled at. So I don't want to get yelled at. So I got to make sure. And sometimes I feel like people that have never been in management roles don't understand that.
Yeah.
They just know, oh, I come to work and I do my shit and I leave.
Yeah.
And it's like, when you're a manager, guess what? When you do your shit wrong after you leave, guess who gets to stay behind and fix it?
Yep. Which I think that's kind of the whole point of, like, Captain Freeman and her trying to figure out how to run the ship. Mm-hmm. That goes back to the whole buffer time episode where she doesn't know how to manage people.
Yeah, that's cool.
But then, like, the whole scene where, like, her and Mariner... So, the big plot point that we've completely skipped over is that the ship is overcome by the ooze.
Oh yeah, like the actual plot point of this whole
turning the ship organic, which I didn't actually like, to be honest with you. Like I liked all of the family stuff that we're talking about.
Way in the beginning of the when they're like, yeah, there's this ship and there's this ooze, and we have to be super careful because any problem with the tractor beam could cause it to all malfunction. Instantly, I was like, okay, so clearly something is gonna happen. Yeah.
So and then like when like they undo it, everything, you just had rocks bursting through like the hull and everything. Your little like radiation beam is not going to get rid of that. Like that ship is toast. So we'll just completely ignore all that. But that's like back to the Star Trek magic, where even the Next Generation, often considered the best Star Trek show ever, one episode it is getting the shit kicked out of it. The very next episode, pristine, beautiful. So the whole scene where Mariner and Captain Freeman are doing their thing, I got it as more of a mom and daughter thing.
Oh, definitely. When
like
she
not like a captain incident.
Like when they're digging out to try to find their way, and she's like,
use a sharper rock.
Yeah, do you want to use that shell over there? The rock works just fine. I'm just saying the shell's sharper. The rock works fine, and the whole entire wall busts out. And she's like, see, look at the rock worked just fine. Well, if you would have used the shell, we would have gotten there quicker. Just saying.
But that's what I liked about this episode, though, is to see, because the whole time it's almost like it's a secret. Like nobody knows that they're mother and daughter.
Yeah.
And this episode finally kind of made it, okay, so...
I mean, the fact that she's like, you treat me like a child, Mom, and I'm tired of it.
But this is, I think, the first episode she's called her Mom.
And, yeah, well, not only that, but I think this is the first episode where she actually called her Carol, too.
Yeah, I don't remember ever hearing her name
because I think every other episode previous, she's always just called her Captain.
Mm-hmm.
So,
like I said, it seems like it's been this big secret, and they're finally, like, kind of embracing it a little bit. I'll admit I was fooled at one of the twists. The scene where Captain Freeman's trying to figure out how to get Mariner to quit. It's the scene where she decides to promote her.
Oh.
But when she's like looking through the glass, and in the background she sees Commander Ransom and he's like flexing.
Oh yeah.
I thought she was gonna like team them up, and I thought it was gonna be that.
So too.
I thought it was gonna be a love episode. Hence the moist vessel.
See, and so that's what. Okay, when he was fighting, I was like, because they already hate each other. So if she teams them up, either she was hoping that, I was assuming that like she wants Mariner to switch out, but then I think the plot twist was going to be that what's his face is going to end up
Commander Ransom.
Commander Ransom was going to want to switch out,
and
so the fact that none of that happened, I was like, oh well.
Yeah, no, we were on the same one. Especially like I said, the whole moist thing threw me off. And especially since he was like flexing.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, she's going to put Ransom and Mariner together on some mission. And like you said, somebody's going to hate each other or they're going to end up doing it. That's going to make Captain Freeman even more mad that they're going to be an item now.
Right. I'm sorry. I still think there's going to be a love interest between them.
Yeah, well,
they're still going to do it in the holodeck.
Well, we're almost halfway through the wow. And then she's going to have to clean up her own mess.
Hey, what do I always, every time when I clean up the kitchen, I always say I want to cook dinner first, obviously, afterwards, because if I'm going to be the one to mess up my kitchen, at least it's going to be me.
There you go. So overall, I liked it. Like I said, the plot itself was kind of meh, the whole ooze and ship and all that. But it had a lot of really good family dynamic. And that's kind of what Star Trek's about.
Yeah.
Like, nobody really cares about, like, the Borg taking over the ship. They care about, like, let's see who works well together type situations. Let's get Riker and Troy in the same turbo lift.
I'll agree with you.
Yeah. You're like, I don't know who any of these people are. So overall, liked it. Still looking forward to it next week.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I'll definitely look forward to it next time when it comes out. So.
Okay. Any closing thoughts? Tim's final thoughts.
No, none right now.
Nope. Okay. For those who have seen it, like I said, it's getting a lot of negative reviews, but I'm digging it. The fact that he likes it means that I like it, so I'm super excited. I hope that it picks up, or people, I feel like I've said, people are like hating on it just because it's a cartoon.
Yeah, because like I said, I feel like you got the older generation with the newer generation, and I feel like the older generation.
And then you got the next generation.
You got the next generation, and so I definitely feel like there's a cross between like this isn't anything what the because I feel like this is probably like what, not the first cartoon, but
no, this is the second animated series.
Okay.
The first one came out in the 70s, and people flat out say that's not canon, even though the producers say it is. But this is the second technical series. And even then, like, it's one of those, like, I don't necessarily consider it canon. I just consider it, like, the spirit of Star Trek. I think it's fun. I enjoy
Yeah.
watching it.
I kind of feel like it's like I can't remember exactly what the time frame is for this episode versus like this series versus like previous Star Trek.
This is technically a little bit after Voyager.
So I don't mean okay. So I don't know the timeline of any Star Trek.
You asked, I had an answer.
Yeah, and I still don't know what plot point, but it's kind of like I feel like if people looked at this more of like, well, you got Starfleet and you got Captain Picard and all them doing all the like the big missions. This is what the Cerritos is doing. They're second contact.
Yeah.
So after Captain Picard's already gone through all these planets, it's they find out what restaurants are the best.
Yeah, that's kind of the point of the ship. So yeah, nope, you're on.
And so that's why I feel like I like this one is because this is like what happens after they leave the planet,
Yep.
kind of thing.
Which is something like that's very rarely touched on.
Exactly. So again, that's why I feel like I like it a lot. But I feel like that's why a lot of people don't like it necessarily is because I feel like maybe there's not as much like they're exploring new things. It's already stuff that's been explored, and now they're just going there to clean up Starfleet's mess. The previous Starfleet left behind, like.
No, you're good. Yeah, I mean, there's like if you look at Marvel, for example, like it's kind of a similar concept. Like in Marvel, you see the superheroes just demolishing all these buildings,
Right?
And everybody's like, well, what about the people? Like, how are they going to clean up and everything? Marvel literally wrote a comic book about the people who would come in. They worked for S.H.I.E.L.D. would come in and clean up all of the debris.
Oh,
and people are like, this is dumb. Bitches, you asked for it. You wanted to know who cleaned it up. We showed you, and now you just think it's boring. So, like you said, a lot of people are like, ooh, like, what about people who are going to planets the second time? Here you go. Oh, it's a cartoon. I don't like it. Fuck off. But then these are the same people who are like, when is Rick and Morty coming back? Literally the same writer. So, whatever.
Oh, well.
People bitch just to bitch. So,
story of everyone's life.
Yep. So for those who have seen it, what did you guys think? I'm really curious. I love the comments. Let me know. Otherwise, we will see you guys next week.